Today I'm doing a little update on giving medicines to rats because I've found some slightly better ways of doing things. The other ways that I've showed in the past, they all work, but every so often someone will come along with a suggestion and I will try it, and if I think it's good, I'll let you know. Now, I can't remember who told me about prawn crackers, so if it was you, thank you very much, but prawn crackers are brilliant for giving Baytril and other medicines. And I'm going to just tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. But the first thing I just want to add, for people who are new to keeping rats, if you don't know what foods, fresh foods your rats have been given, then just proceed with caution, just tiny little bits of food. What we would do with new rats was we'd start them off with carrot or apple, because most rats, if they've been given fruit, which you should give fruit and vegetables to them, but most rats would most likely have been given carrot or apple. It seems to be the common thing that everyone knows that a rat will eat carrot and apple. I've got another video somewhere else which tells you all about foods that we do and don't give. So I'm not going to go through all the foods here, but I just wanted to say that it's better to give a small piece of fruit every day than to give a large piece once a week. You don't want to upset your rat's stomachs. We would always start with a very small piece of food, like a little thin slice of carrot, and probably half that amount for a baby rat. But if it's an adult rat, we'd give them a little piece that big, and we'd work up to an adult sized rat, a piece of carrot round about that size, slightly smaller piece of apple, because apple's got lots of sugar. In fact, carrot's got sugar in it as well, but I wouldn't give more than that. One of the other things that we do give, but only in small quantities, is broccoli. Now, with broccoli, we would trim off all these sort of lighter green pieces and just give the darker green. And if it's a new food or a young rat, it would be a very tiny piece. And if it's an adult rat, they'd have a piece that big. That's important with broccoli, not to give too much because it can cause wind. And now there's one other thing I'm just going to mention for all of you new rat owners who might not know, is that rats cannot be sick and they cannot burp. So if you give them something that doesn't agree with them, it's likely to make them feel very uncomfortable and maybe have a very bad stomach ache. And if it's too much fruit and vegetables, they can get really bad diarrhea, which is quite serious in a small animal. So just proceed with caution, as I said before. Rats can get hiccups, by the way. We had one rat who'd always pick her food and she would always get hiccups every evening. She never learnt, so some just are prone to that. So if it's just the odd few hiccups now and again, nothing to worry about. If that you have a rat that seems to permanently have hiccups, it could actually be signs of something else is causing this to happen. So it's one of those things that if something happens all the time to your rat and it's not quite normal behaviour, to get them checked out at the vet. The other reminder about foods is that we try to always use organic food where we can. I know it's not always possible, but it is getting cheaper, especially if you grow your own. But even with organic foods, always wash really well, just in clean cold water. We peel everything as well. We do take the peel off of apples and you know, carrots. We give them a little scrape off so we get off the outer layer. Anyway, that's enough about foods, because this is supposed to be medicines. Now, the prawn crackers are absolutely brilliant. The first thing I'm going to show you is my syringe. These are the Rat Warehouse syringes. The vet will give you a syringe with your Baytril if you're giving Baytril, but I tend to keep a few of these in the house because the ones from my vet, they tend to break after a while anyway. So I think, you know, normally syringes are only meant to be used a few times for giving medicine, but I think if you've got rats, it's always handy to have some syringes for when your rats are not well. Now, I very, very rarely syringe medicine for a rat because it's stressful and the rats don't like it. I don't want to upset them more than they already are, and we need them to get their medicine without stressing them, which is why we use foods. If a rat is very, very sick and cannot eat or drink, then we would syringe the medicine, but never straight down into the mouth towards the back of the throat. I have got a video somewhere showing this. we would always put the syringe very gently into the side of the mouth and very slowly, one tiny little drop at a time. Now, Baytril should always be mixed with food. Some vets will tell you just mix it with a little water, but Baytril, so I'm told, it tastes really disgusting. So the rats are not going to be too keen about actually taking the Baytril unless you disguise it. So this is why we try all these different things. And another little mention about your syringes, to keep them very clean, just rinse them in clean water and dry them with a clean tissue. And then what I will do is I'll just fold them up into a tissue, a piece of kitchen paper. And if you have I have a little plastic tub that I keep my medicines and my syringes in. You can use a clean ice cream tub, you don't have to buy one specially. The round boxes that you get at Christmas with sweets in, they can be washed out and they can be used for storing rat treats and rat medicines and things. So anyway, the really good thing about the prawn cracker, it will absorb a drop of Baytril. It doesn't go all the way through. It will soak in to the prawn cracker, but it will go soggy if you leave it. So if you're using a prawn cracker or any cereal type thing to actually mix your medicine, then give it immediately you've put the medicine on. Now, it's very important. You can take the rat out of the cage to give them the medicine to make sure they eat it all. When that is good, especially if there's lots of rats in the cage. But you can't give a treat just to one rat. So always break off another little piece of prawn cracker and give it to a piece to each of the other rats. And that means there's no one trying to steal the sick rat's medicine. Another thing that we've been using is these little Quaker Oat crisp little puff things. I can't remember what they call them, enveloped pillows. Quaker Oat crisp, 30% less sugar, little like crispy pillows of oat cereal. Now the rats really like them. They will work really well as well. The same thing, put a little drop of Baytril on from your syringe and give it immediately to the rat. We try and vary what the foods that we mix our medicines with so the rats don't get bored, because especially if the rat's on medicine for 14 days, that's a long time. The other thing we're using is the low sugar oat Cheerios. Now the actual Baytril won't soak into them because they're quite hard. So what I would do is put one of those in between 2 spoons, crush it down into like a rough powder, not fine, really fine, but a little rough powder. And we would drop the Baytril on, and you see that ready stuff there. That is a little bit of Trixie red berry malt paste. Now I don't use it on its own because it's very thick and cloggy, but just mixing in with some cheerio, crushed cheerio and some Baytril, that will help disguise the smell and the taste of the Baytril. And the rats love malt paste. And now some people will use peanut butter. We don't use that. It's on our choking hazard list. If you think yourself, if you had a sore throat or you had a cold and you're trying to eat something that's really thick and cloggy, sticking in the throat, not easy, and you need to make taking the medicine as easy as possible. Other things we have used is a little bit of bio yogurt, some organic strawberry yogurt, just a tiny bit. This isn't yogurt, I'll explain it in a minute, but I would use like a tiny little bit on a spoon of bio yogurt. I wouldn't give that every day. You can't use the yogurt if you're using Doxycycline, which is also called Ronaxan, because you can't have milk products with that. But a little tiny bit of bio yogurt is fine with Baytril, and some people will tell you it's supposed to help boost the immune system. The other things we've used in an emergency when we haven't had any of prawn crackers and the right cereal is we've used a piece of digestive biscuit. We've used some seedless jam. We've used some like strawberry syrup that you put onto cereal, not cereal, like ice cream syrup. One natural with no artificial things in. But I mean, they're just emergency things. We wouldn't use them all the time. It's far better to find something that's a little bit more healthy. Yes, you can mix up with little bits of fruit and everything, but not too much fruit when your rats are on antibiotics for the diarrhea. Now this is one of our real survival tactics here. The Rat Warehouse Wait Up Baby Berry. Now this is absolutely fantastic. It says it's for sick and underweight rats, but all rats will love it. It's got strawberry and coconut, and it's a porridge. Now, important thing to remember with this is two things. Always mix it with hot water from the kettle. Doesn't have to be boiling, but water that's boiled and then cooled down a bit. And then it will thicken as it cools, so don't feed it immediately, apart from the fact it will be too hot. You don't want to burn your rat's mouth. Keep adding water until it gets to a nice smooth consistency. Now, a lot of people will feed it just as a thick porridge, but again, I don't like gloopy thick things, especially for sick rats. So we'll make it quite runny, and you can quite happily give a rat, we'd give a little bit to start with the Baytril, and if they're not eating food and they're underweight, we'd then give up to a teaspoon of that a day. So you know, you can give that, and that's really, really good. The rats just absolutely adore the Wait Up Baby Berry. We don't give the chocolate one because we don't feed chocolate to our rats, but I think hopefully they give you a few little ideas there, and that might just help you out a little bit. And if you've got any questions, just let me know.